Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Sun Belt Conference Media Teleconference. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll jump right into it. We're now joined with Shawn Clark, the head coach of App State. If you have a question for Coach Clark, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, very fortunate to get out with a victory this week against Georgia State. I thought Coach Elliott had his team playing at a high level and really got after us most of the whole game. So we had to come back yesterday and regroup and put our efforts into Coastal Carolina, a game we're looking forward to playing. And again, they're playing at a high level right now. Coach Chadwell has her team, playing lights out, and we have a work cut out for us.
Thank you very much, Coach. Our first questions come from Alan Blondin with the Sun News. Please go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, hey, Coach. I know you guys had a lot of the coronavirus issues early in the year. Are you pretty much through all that, or are there still some things you're dealing with in that way?
Every day you're dealing with it. We've been fortunate the last 5 weeks to have 0 positives, but you also get contact tracing to come in there into effect, and I think we're no different than anyone in the country right now. Everyone's dealing with it. And we test on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we'll have a better answer after that. So, but right now we're back to close to 100%.
Okay. You got quite the leader, Zach Thomas there. He's not putting up, any kind of gaudy numbers this year, but are you happy with the way he's been running the offense? Yeah,
I think Zach's a special talented quarterback that gives us some leeway on how we do our offense, but his numbers don't stand out to where he's playing at a high level, but sometimes we got to get open to throw it to those guys to run the right routes, etc. But I'm very happy where Zach is right now.
All right, Coach. And then obviously you got Coastal this week, and they've been the surprise of the conference. When you look at film, and is there any surprises there at how good they've become in such a short time?
Well, I don't think it's a surprise to me or to our program, because I know what kind of coach Chadwell is, and you look at his track record from where he's been, and he's been a winner everywhere he's been. And I know they were picked close to last in our conference, but I knew that wasn't going to be the case because we played in the last couple of years, and it's always been a dogfight. So they got some really good football players on both sides of the ball, and I think their defense is playing exceptional right now with the gunner. I think he's one of the top guys in the Sun Belt, and Brewer and Jackson. And then also they got a quarterback's playing at a high level, and Grayson McCall, someone I know a lot about, recruited him here, and they got great skill positions. So it's going to be a challenge when we go to Myrtle Beach this weekend.
Hey, Coach, the last one for me. This program, your program is accustomed to the big games and always playing for, games that matter, whether you're going to get into the conference championship game, win the conference championship game, and it's all new to Coastal. Do you believe that plays any factor and gives you any advantage going into this game?
I don't think so. Personally, I just, we're going to play an outstanding football team this weekend, and you turn the tape on, you see why they're undefeated right now. They are playing. They have a lot of confidence. They're playing to win every football game, and the tape doesn't ever lies. So we'll have our work cut out for us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alan. And we have time for one more with Dan McDonald from The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. You mentioned Zach. What happened at the end, and do you have any kind of update on him as far as how he's doing and what his status will be?
Yeah, he was running out of the pocket because we missed an assignment up front. He had pressure in his face, was sprinting to the sideline, and took a good hit on the sideline there, and had carted him off. And right now we're still day by day. We're not sure exactly what's going to happen, but we have our fingers crossed he'll be able to play. But tough hit, but that's kind of football, and we'll see how he goes. And when the doctors give us the okay, we'll move from there.
Were a lot of people's hearts up in their throats a little bit when obviously it's never a good situation when you have to take somebody off the field.
Again, anytime scary hitting football, as your captain, your quarterback of your team. But I was very impressed how Jacob came in and kind of rallied the troops and took us down the field for a winning drive. So it was scary at first, but once we found out he was going to be okay, we got the word to the team quick, and we kind of got on our way.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you. If everyone can stand by, we're going to place everybody on a brief hold, but we'll be right back with Jamey Chadwell of Coastal Carolina. Please stand by. All right, and thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Jamey Chadwell, the head coach of Coastal Carolina. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
I would. We had a great weekend. Actually had a chance to catch 2 flag football games. Our defensive coordinator's son had a pick 6 and a touchdown, and then my son was 8 of 11 with 2 drops, 4 touchdown passes, and had a QBR rating of infinity. He was pretty phenomenal. Those drops, I don't know what those families are doing with their kids, but they need to be out there practicing catching the ball. So besides that, it was a heck of a weekend, and got a big game this Saturday. So I opened it up from there.
Maybe the best opening statement of the year, Coach. Our first question will come from Alan Blonin with Sun News. Please go ahead, Alan.
Hey, Coach. When did you guys find out that the Troy game was canceled, and where were you in your game preparation and travel?
It was late Thursday night. I was actually in sleep. AD called me Thursday night and said, hey, there's a chance that this is not playing, which we had an inkling. We heard it earlier in the week. But he said they're still trying to play, and then he sent me a text real late Thursday night. I was already asleep. So game planning was done, and you know, you were getting geared up to leave Friday at some point. So we heard late Thursday night, or I guess I got it Friday morning when I woke up. So.
All right. Does that give you a little bit of a extra opportunity to prepare for Appalachian State? Those couple extra days you knew you weren't going to be playing at Troy.
I mean, not really. I mean, we still had to give the team, a day off, obviously, because we hadn't had a day off yet. So, and then, all your prep was for Troy. So you could get today, normally when you have maybe a limited Monday because you had a game. We don't do things on Sunday, so you had a game, Saturday, then Monday's limited. You're making corrections, so we don't have to do that. So you'll get a fuller practice in today. So I mean, I guess you can get a half a day head start, but from that standpoint, more so really you less banging since you didn't get a banging. That's probably more of a benefit than having the extra half day.
Okay. Do you guys know any idea when that game will be played? Will it be December 12th, or has that been decided?
You know what? I don't know. Not been privy to any of those conversations. I think they have games that day. So, above my pay grade currently.
All right. And this is, inarguably the biggest game you guys will play, this year with everything that's on the line with the East Division and all. And App State is used to this stuff, and it's kind of new to you guys. Do you think there's any advantage in that for them, or is every year different? The fact that they're used to playing in these every year.
Well, I'm sure they've got experience. They've got great players that have been there, done that. I think they've won it for 3-4 years in a row here. So I mean, I'm sure that's a benefit to them. They know what big games are, and they know how to handle themselves in that. So for us, it is new, but you hope that you prepared your team for being ready for these situations. So, but I definitely it's definitely an advantage for them and the players they have and all the experience they have of being in these situations.
All right, Coach. Last one for me. Do they, just the way they play offensively and defensively, do they maybe more than anybody else in the conference kind of test your toughness as a football team? Is that kind of the major thing that they test you?
Well, I think they test you in a lot of ways because they're fast in all facets. They can beat you in a number of ways. They can run the ball down your throat, then they can throw it over the top. Physical up front. Defensively, they swarm around the football. They've got great secondary play. They got great linebackers, great D-line. I think they've had the top recruiting class in the conference the last 4 or 5 years. So I mean, if you do that over a 5-year period, you got really good players, and so I think they from a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint, they've been the best in this league, and so they're going to test you in a lot of different ways, and you better be tough if you're going to try to compete with them. for all 4 quarters.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alan. Our next questions come from Dan McDonald with the Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Hey, Dan. Good morning.
The most important question, did you get the taillight fixed?
You know what? I messed it up even worse. So she fired me from that too. So I've been fired as the COVID PE teacher. I was fired during the spring, and then she's fired me from her mechanic as well. So I'm struggling with my wife in a lot of areas. Well,
the good thing is you found your calling as far as football, I guess. Zach Thomas, had to leave the game for Appalachian State late. They're hoping he'll be back and be able to play. But do you have to prepare any different, or do you do anything any different with the possibility that he might not play? And what do you think he means to that program?
Well, he's obviously been the player of the league in the year, player of the year in the league before. I mean, he's he's obviously starting quarterback, been there a long time, and he makes their offense go. And so you got to prepare that he's there. And their offense is not going to change if he's not. They might, change a little bit up to fit the, whatever quarterback they choose to play besides that. But our anticipation that he's playing. If he doesn't, you just adjust accordingly maybe on certain key situations. I don't think your base game plan changes at all because they're going to, what they're going to do. They've done it forever, and they've been great at it. So it won't change much from that standpoint. I think some key situations, maybe third down, maybe red zone, you change it a little bit based off if he's not there. But he's the ignition. They've got great players everywhere, and he's the one that makes it go. And so, if he doesn't play, I'm sure it'd be a loss for them. Just like, if one of our good players doesn't play, it's a loss. But somebody will step up, and they've got plenty of people to be able to step up. What's
the excitement level of your guys?
Well, I know they're excited about playing, especially after not playing this weekend. That's the challenge. Is they were extremely disappointed about not getting to be able to play. And finding out late in the week when you're ready to go. So I know our guys will be excited about playing the opportunity, playing the game, and especially having a home game, and playing the best in this league. And so that's one that you hope you don't have to motivate people for. You hope that they're ready to go. And I'm Apps with the experience that they have, they get everybody's best shot every week. So it's going to be just nothing new for them.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We're now joined with Steve Campbell, the head coach of South Alabama. If you have a question for Coach Campbell, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yep. Good morning. We're coming off of a disappointing loss to a very good Louisiana Lafayette football team. It was a game that kind of got away from us early. We didn't start as fast as what we needed to in order to beat a really good football team on the road. I don't think we didn't play well enough offensively or defensively to give ourselves a chance to win. So the focus this week is to get back to playing good football. We feel like we've got a good football team, and we'll get a couple of guys back this week that will definitely help us in our preparation, and we're looking forward to a great week of practice and getting ready to play a very good Georgia State team, a team that took App State down to the wire. So we know we've got a very good opponent coming in. We're glad to be back home after 3 weeks on the road and look forward to a really good game this week against Georgia State.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with the Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Your offensive line was just devastated with some illness, injury, losses during the last week. Are you going to be able to get some of those guys back, and how important is that going to be?
Yeah, I thought we had as good a week of practice as we have ever had. Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we got we were without our two starting tackles this past week, and and the two guys that went in there I thought played really I thought they did a heck of a job. I think our O-line held up, and and on the pass protection, we probably didn't get we didn't get as much push against a good defensive line as what we need to. But, those guys, one of them got his first start, and the other one came back, and we're not going to make excuses. Next man needs to step up, and those guys did step up, but we did not. We didn't play the way that we're capable of playing, and we'll see how all the protocols go and everything like that. But it's not looking like the two that played this past week or didn't play this past week will they've got a 10-day deal. So we'll see how everything plays out. We're just looking forward to getting back out on the practice field and having a great week and focus on the things that we can control, which is to get better every week and get better each day that we're out there and put together a plan. And if we will do the things that we can do and not worry, don't try to be Superman and make up for whatever may or may not be there. Just be the best that we can be on one play at a time. We'll give ourselves great opportunity to win the football game.
From last weekend's game, Georgia State game, what did you see from them, and were you a little bit surprised, maybe not that it was a close game, but that it was such a low-scoring game?
I knew App was, they're always good on defense, and Georgia State's always, very tough defensively, and Georgia State played a heck of a game defensively. I mean, they really, really did a good job against the run and controlled the pass. They gave up a pass late that put App in position to win the game. So, I was not surprised. They're two outstanding football teams. I mean, Georgia State has played well all year. They had one little hiccup against Coastal, who is a top 15 team, and but they took ULL down to the wire. And Louisiana is an outstanding team, so we know what a great team that Georgia State is, and we're going to prepare and look forward to. We're still got a lot to play for. We've got a chance to have a winning season, and in order to do that, we need to win this one this week. So we're excited about playing a very good team and getting back on the winning track, getting back to playing winning football.
Carlos Davis was pretty much held in check by Louisiana's defenses. Were you trying to use like a lot of different running backs, or was there something that were they doing just to take him away from your offense? Yeah,
I think they did a good job of stopping Carlos, and we just we did not get the we couldn't get it going on the ground and the way that we needed to in order to be effective for the play action stuff to open up. So and then we wanted to once the game got going, there were a couple of deals where we wanted to some guys, or we wanted to use their skill sets as well.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach, for your time today. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along, we're now joined with Jake Spavital, the head coach of Texas State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, going back to Saturday, very similar message of, what we've been talking about for the past few weeks. I give a lot of credit to Georgia Southern. That's a very difficult team to prepare for and play. I think they're very sound in what they do, and I think they bought in. They play extremely hard, and going in that game, we talked about how we need to minimize our mistakes because when you play teams like Georgia Southern, they're going to be magnified, and we've got to take advantage of any opportunities that we have because there's not going to be very many versus them. But you go out in that game, and that first half was completely opposite, I think, of what anybody thought it was going to go. And there was a ton of mistakes. There's 5 turnovers in the first half, and a snapped ball over our punter's head. We had a kickoff return. There was probably, I think, the most possessions Georgia Southern's ever had in a first half, probably in a long time, occurred in that first half of the game, and then you go into the second game and the second half, and they had 4 drives in the second half, and we had 1 in the third quarter, and we had it for 3 plays and scored, and very ball control oriented second half, and we from our mistakes in the first half, we couldn't just overcome them, and I got to give them credit, and again, I am proud of our kids and how they fight and how they compete and how they try and how we battle their way back into it. But, to win games, we got to play winning football, and we are our own worst enemy at times. And we have a lot of self-inflicted wounds, and we've got to clean those up for us to be able to finish these games off. But, we got 2 more opportunities left. You got a great Arkansas State coming in this weekend, which is going to be a great challenge for us. But I think we're pretty excited to be off the road and be home for our last 2 games. And I think our kids understand the message, and we're looking forward to playing this team and hopefully put together a complete game, because we got to play clean football for us to win these games. And I think these kids are excited to get back out there and try to redeem ourselves from the past few weeks. Questions?
Thank you, Coach. First questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. You talked about all those first half mistakes, but then you also had an awful lot of big plays, a lot of chunk plays in this one. Was that something going in that you thought you might be able to take advantage of and be able to do what you did?
Yeah, we thought we could be able to hit some pretty big plays throwing the football. I think they're very good at stopping the run, So we thought that we could kind of spread it out a little bit more. We got 5 out in our route progressions instead of max throwing, and just try to get the QB a few more options. I didn't think we were going to hit those explosive plays as many as we did, but fortunately we did, because if not, we wouldn't have been in that game. And I do give our kids credit for battling back, but that's a very good team that you play. In terms of just how they ball control and how they don't give you very many opportunities.
I was going to ask you about that. What does it say about your team that you held them to the field goal with about 5 minutes left, and then you get the score that puts you right there with a chance to win? After how the last few games have gone, what does that say about your team that they were still right there at the end?
Yeah, they're always getting in there at the end. It's just frustrating for these kids, because we're just not finding a way to get the ball to bounce our way, or just find that breakthrough to actually close out a game and win. And that's where the frustrating part is with our team. But they understand it, because we have a transparency of why we win and lose games. And again, I tell them I'm proud of them, because they fight, and I think they're a pretty resilient team. It's just, I think we got to clean up our own mistakes and start looking at ourselves in the mirror. And then I think once we do that, I think we can find ways to close these games out.
Can you talk a little bit about Brady McBride's performance? He had those touchdown passes for you.
Yeah, that was Tyler started the game off and had an unfortunate injury right there before halftime, and I thought Brady came in. We went with a quarterback change 2 weeks ago, for the App State game, because I thought Brady just needed to take a little bit of break and kind of see it from the sidelines for a little bit longer. And I thought he had great poise when he went in the game. That was something that he was struggling with in the previous games, on kind of seeing ghosts at times and trying to scramble and get out of the play instead of going through his progressions. And I thought he did a really good job at getting to his check downs and getting to his second, third, and fourth read at times. And just kind of proud of how that kid ended up playing, and it put us in a position to win the game, even though we only played half a football game.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Dan.
All right, thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
All right, Travis. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Remember, we stand by. We'll be back in about 3 minutes with Chad Lunsford of Georgia Southern, so please stand by. All right, thank you for holding, everybody. We are now joined with Chad Lunsford, the head coach of Georgia Southern. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Yes, no problem. Had a good win last week. We were able to squeak it out in the end. That's kind of what we've done this year, but we were able to get get it done against Texas State, 40-38. Hats off to Texas State and Coach Spavital. They did a tremendous job coming in here and giving a heck of a fight like they've done all season. A game that we were able to get turnovers early. We could have put together a bigger lead, but then we put a couple turnovers out there and let them get back in the game, and it basically became a fight all the way to the end. Thought our offense did a really good job of finishing off the game and giving us an opportunity to get our sixth win. And now we'll turn our attentions to non-conference game. We'll go up and play Army this week, and big challenge for us. Definitely different from what we've been seeing on our defense lately. And, so we're going to have to obviously flip the script and turn the page and make sure that we get prepared and go up there and try to get a victory. And it'll be two teams that sit at 6-2 and who can get that seventh win.
All right, thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. You talked about your team being able to hold on to football. How important was that? You had the two long drives spanning the third and fourth quarter, and then during the fourth quarter you got the field goal, and then able to get the first downs at the end to run it out. How important was that for your guys after that crazy first half?
Well, I tell you what was really important for our football team is, games before, our defenses had to bail us out in the fourth quarter and win it. And so, it was really the offense's turn to do it. And, being able to get those long drives, the touchdown, the field goal, and then obviously put it away with those first downs and get in our victory formation. I think that was big for our football team because I just think it was a different way of finishing the game that we haven't been doing. So it just showed that we can do it that way also.
Texas State had some big plays, some chunk plays on you. Is that something that, is this now a point of emphasis with this pretty good Army team coming in?
Yeah, no question. I mean, we can't give up explosives like that. A little bit last week we had some weather issues with our practices. We had heavy downpour on Tuesday. We got out there and practiced in it, and then Wednesday we had to go inside and practice. So a lot of that, we didn't really get the game speed that we needed on that type of stuff. But, hey, no excuses there, man. We got to make sure we make the play when it's time. But we did give up some explosives that ended up making it a shootout for a game. And, again, we got to make sure we're on point this week because we're going to be playing a team that's very disciplined, very tough.
Was this game an originally scheduled game, or was this a pandemic-induced game? And if you could talk about how, it's always sort of it's a different setting when you go up to play one of the academies.
This was not scheduled earlier. It got scheduled after we had our Ole Miss game canceled. And it was I know they were looking for a game, and obviously we were looking for a game, and so we were able to go ahead and pick that up. I think this is a really good opportunity for our guys. One, we get to go play a historic program in Army, and what West Point means and all that type of stuff. I think that's really good. And then obviously just the opportunity to go play a team that is kind of like us. I mean, we run the same defense. They're under center option, a little bit of gun. We're more gun option. So it makes for an interesting matchup, and might be a real short game, honestly. May not be a lot of possessions, and it might be over pretty quick.
And one more question. You did teach Najee Thompson how to make those catches like that with one hand, huh?
Oh man, Najee's something else now. He's got some athletic ability. He's made some good plays for us, and he's really made good plays for us on special teams. And it was good to see him, make that type of catch. And he's really working hard at it.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Yep, no problem.
All right, thanks, Dan. Our next questions come from Daniel Rodriguez. Daniel, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach. I wanted to ask, coming up right now to play Army, what it means for the program to play such a historic team in one of the academies, and how you try to prepare for this team that has such a similar style like yourself.
Well, again, the historic part, at Georgia Southern, we've been able to go play Navy a couple times, and what a it's a great mystique there. This will be our first opportunity to be able to go up to West Point, and I wish it really wasn't a pandemic year, because we would try to make a little bit more out of the trip, and maybe try to take in some things that we're not going to be able to just because of COVID restrictions and all that. But we definitely want to talk about it. We want to make sure our guys understand the significance and the historical part of Army, and and I think it's a great opportunity, for our guys to learn a little bit more than just football when it comes to playing a game. As far as the similar styles, I see the identity being the same. I mean, I see us down here. We like to say we're blue collar, we're disciplined, we're tough. When I watch Army on film, I mean, they're exactly that. I worked for Coach Munkin when he was head coach at Georgia Southern, so I know what he demands out of his players. So it's going to be an awesome battle, and we got to understand that we got to go up there and we got to try to be, if not just as disciplined or just as tough, we got to be more disciplined, more tough if we want to try to get that win.
And how have you seen Shai Werts play or getting ready to play Army, as he had over 100 yards last game, 3 touchdowns? How do you see him going into the next game?
Well, I think other than his turnovers the last 2 games, I think he's really played solid football for us. He's done a really good job of running our offense, making sure we're in the right play, making the plays when it presents itself to him. But other than the turnovers, I think he's doing a really good job, and it's another opportunity to grow this week and continue to grow off the momentum he's gained in the last 2 weeks. He's a fifth-year senior for us and 4-year starter. He continues to get better each and every week, and we just look forward to seeing if he can go up there and just continue to stack on the statistics and hopefully get a win and keep adding to that total also.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, no problem.
All right, thank you, Daniel, and thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
Yep, no problem. Thank y'all. GATA.
Thank you, and we're moving right along. We're now joined with Blake Anderson, the head coach of Arkansas State. If you have a question for Coach Anderson, please dial *1. Or phone at this time, again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Sure. COVID week for us with the postponement, so we did not play and ready to get back out and get after it this week. We were able to use a few days that presented to us to kind of help some guys get their bodies feeling a little bit better. We've had a challenging season, and it's been a rough road the last month or a month and a half coming out of our own COVID issues, and then just some tough games that have kind of beat us up. So I felt like the guys had a energetic practice yesterday. Body language was good. We know the challenge ahead of us. We feel the need to win out to put ourselves in a good bowl situation, having lost a few here in conference play over the last few weeks. So Texas State scored a lot of points, has shown just to get better and better every week. We got to travel to them, so that's going to be a challenge that we've got to step up to and play our best ball. Like to feel like we're getting healthier. Like to think that we're starting to kind of get our step back. That I feel like we lost kind of mid-season, and think it's going to take every bit of that down the stretch to get wins and put ourselves in a position to play in a 10th straight bowl. So the guys' attitudes are good, and just trying to continue to get better, and that's what we're focusing on, the things that we can control, which is us, our work ethic, and how we kind of approach the day-to-day. And all the indications from the guys is that they're bought into that and trying to do that very thing. And like I said, we had a really good practice yesterday to get started on Texas State.
Thank you very much, Coach. Our first questions come from Luke Matheson with Red Wolf Report. Please go ahead, Luke.
Hey, Blake, you touched on getting some guys healthy. That's going to be my first question for you. There are some guys that have been missing a few games you're expecting to get back this week?
I think we're getting closer. I mean, we got a chance to get Jarrett Horse back on the field, which would be great, after a procedure a couple of weeks ago. Andre seems to be looking better and better. He played a good bit the other day but wasn't 100%. Kenneth Harris is very, very close to being back. Marcel Murray could be back this week. So, I mean, those are guys that we've missed, over the course of the last few weeks that are big parts of what we do. And there may be others. It was too early to tell yesterday, and we were trying to be pretty cautious with a few. But I think tomorrow and Wednesday's practice will say a lot about, just if we've taken another step in that direction.
Well, I know, obviously, you made the change defensively several weeks ago. I talked to Coach Paramsky on Friday, and he talked about one of the big things, one of his big focuses was building that family-type atmosphere on defense again, and then the improvements that they showed really against Louisiana. What have you seen on that side of the football that you really like right now?
Well, that's kind of where it starts, just the culture. There was a disconnect before. Don't know why. It just was sometimes fits just don't work because it's definitely not the Coach Duggan's capability as a coach. I mean, he's a phenomenal coach and has shown that in his track record. But for whatever reason, that group wasn't connecting, and so I think they clearly rallied behind Coach P and that group. He's been here for a while. AJ's been here for a while. Joyner. So there's just some relationships that I think we're building on, and you're seeing some confidence start to grow. His personality's coming out as well. He's a fiery, competitive guy, energetic guy. I think defense is about environment, kind of culture, and then execution. And so we're trying to create energy and execution over there. And little by little, you're starting to see that group gain some confidence, some young guys growing up, and we're making less mistakes. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to go out and execute and not make mistakes. And we played a little bit better this past week, played a little bit more physical this past week, played better executional football. Not good enough to win, but clearly an improvement. So we need to build on that. This will be a challenge because I think these guys are really good on offense. They spread you out and throw the ball around, and they've shown that they can score points. So we'll have to do a great job of being where we're supposed to be this week and play with tons of energy.
And moving to the offense, past few weeks, there's been some bright spots, but then there's been some times you struggled to move the football as well. What's your focus been really with this past week being off offensively?
Well, trying to heal some bodies up, no doubt. Trying to get kind of a group of guys that feel like they can put their bodies on people. We've struggled in the run game, which has put a lot of pressure on us. The ability to throw and catch the ball, which we've done really, really well most of the season, but some of the looks we've seen the last couple of weeks have made that a challenge. I was really pleased that we ran the ball better against Lafayette. Our ability to be balanced changes everything. It starts up front with the ability to run the ball and then protect the quarterback when we need to. So trying to heal up, get that starting five back on the field on the O-line, and then be really creative about how we utilize our weapons to try to put as much pressure on the defense as possible and just find consistency. And that's really the answer on both sides of the ball. Find consistency. We've had spurts where we're really good on both sides, but we've missed too many opportunities to get the ball in the end zone last week against Lafayette when we had guys open, kind of missed throw, drop ball, busted protection, missed opportunities. We can't continue to have those and win games down the stretch. So finding consistency, first half against Troy, we dropped 3 interceptions that could have changed the game. We dropped a touchdown pass that could have changed the outcome of the game. We've got to find consistency, and that's really what we're working on every day.
Moving to Texas State this week, obviously, like you said earlier, put up a lot of points this past week. They forced some turnovers. They scored points off of turnovers and really showed, despite their record, that you can't overlook them.
No, their record means nothing. We got our own challenges there. So we know that a record does not completely define a team. We feel like we've got a lot better team than what our record shows as well. I see a team that's getting better with them. I think they bought into what Coach Spavital is preaching there. You can tell that they enjoy the environment they're playing in. They're still playing with tons of energy, even though they are out of a bowl picture, out of a conference race. And to me, that says everything. They're going to be dangerous. They're going to be fighting and clawing. They can score points. He's done a good job recruiting to fit his system, and it's going to take us playing our best football. And to me, that's our challenge for us to keep improving down the stretch as well, and claw our way back into a winning season and the bowl picture.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Luke, and thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
Sure. Absolutely.
stand by. We should have Coach Viator here shortly. Please stand by. Let's
Yeah.
start with a opening statement.
I was really proud of our team and our staff Saturday. I thought when it was needed, I thought we played maybe one of our better all-around, games of the season so far. I thought some of our leaders within each position group and on all three phases played some of their best football. And I do think that we're seeing some of our young players grow up. And we got a good result. I think certainly got a lot of respect for Coach Campbell in South Alabama and how hard their team plays. But it was a good win, and certainly a lot of implications in the Western Division. It was great to go ahead and secure that opportunity in the championship game. We, I think big picture-wise, need to continue to improve. We still have too many errors. We have way too many penalties in the game. And then when we put our backups in the game late, we didn't play to a standard and didn't finish the game that we need to, so the way we should finish a game. But in general, good day at Cajun Field, and excited about, what this team can become here as we keep working hard to get better. We move forward here to FCS opponent in Central Arkansas, who has a winning tradition and has proved over time that they're a consistent winner, and they've got really good personnel. You've got several players that, would start in our league and can create a number of issues for you. But we're excited. It's going to be senior day. We'll have an opportunity to recognize these seniors on our team that have done so much for our program, and hopefully send them out the right way with the win in their last opportunity at Cajun Field. So what questions do we have?
Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. Going back to Saturday, as far as a full 60-minute game, how does that one rank this year as far as both your offense and defense combined?
Well, I think, we started fast. That was a big part of our plan. We felt like if we could put some points up early and develop a lead in the game, that we could make South Alabama play left-handed a little bit. I think defensively, big premium on stopping the run. They had knocked us around a little bit the first 2 years, and we wanted to come out and start fast in that area. Try to stay in favorable down and distances. We did that. I think we did a nice job on both sides of the ball on conversion downs. But in general, we're closer. That was more like what we would want to be as a team. But we still can finish the game better. And, just a few too many penalties for my liking. And we got work to do, but we're getting closer.
You talked about the running attack. You held the conference's leading rusher to like 18 yards and held them to like 120 passing, 120 rushing, 140 passing. Going in, did you have goals on defense? Was that the top goal, to try to slow their rushing attack down?
Yeah, I think that was at the top of the list. They do have some explosive receivers, two of the better ones in our entire conference. And I think in general, to hold that group to 268 yards, and really we gave up 40 on the last possession of the game. And I think they got a 17-yard run on the last play of the half with 2 seconds to go. So our defense was lights out. Coach Tony and the defensive staff had a good plan, and we executed the plan. A lot went into it, but it was good to see. How
difficult is it to play a non-conference game at a a team that you really don't know a lot about at this point of the year in Central Arkansas?
Well, we know quite a bit about them. You know, I think we've done a lot of research since the time that they were put on the schedule. All of our in-house people have been doing their job, and I think we've got a good understanding of who they are. They've got a pretty extensive history in terms of who they want to be and what they've done in the past. You know, I don't think that our team, you know, we enjoy playing, we enjoy competing. This is another opportunity for this 2020 team to play together and really focus on keeping the momentum that we do have and improving. You know, and that's exactly what we'll be focused on this week.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And sorry we ran a little bit long there, everybody. We're now joined with Chip Lindsey, the head coach of Troy. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us. I apologize for the delay. Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Nope. Okay, guys. Thanks for being here. Obviously, we didn't get to play this past weekend. Fell below a threshold and on our team in one of our positions. So trying to get that under control with COVID-19. We went ahead and retested our team again Saturday. We'll obviously do it again this week. Feel like we're going to be okay by the time, for this week's game for Middle Tennessee here at home. But, this is one of those things we talked about way back in August that said, hey, we want to play, so everybody in this room's got to be ready to go. And obviously their safety is the number one thing. But at the same time, our conference has put together protocols and guidelines that say, when you get to this point, then you're not going to be able to play. So I think that's kind of what we dealt with this weekend. It was unfortunate. Obviously, we hope to play that game later in the season against a very good Coastal Carolina team and have our opportunity to face them. They're obviously having a great year and so forth, but our players, I know we're looking forward to that. And now we'll refocus and get ready for a Middle Tennessee team here coming here at home at the Vet. Okay, questions?
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder to our members of the media, it's *1 to get in the queue. First questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. You mentioned the Coastal game. Is there any possibility of, and I guess anything's possible this year, of reshuffling, since that is that could be a key game as far as on the east side? Is there any reshuffling of the schedule that might be hanging out there, that possibility?
Yeah, I'm told there's some possibilities there, but I don't know what those are. It's kind of just let the athletic director and the conference deal with that. I'm pretty sure there is that possibility. I don't know if it's reshuffling or playing at a different time or whatever, obviously depending on how their season finishes. But, our goal is to play 12 games, and I know we're committed to trying to do that. And that we're obviously being an East opponent, I think, is always something that plays a factor in that. So we're hopeful. At the same time, kind of the way we're approaching things here is just one day at a time and things we can control. And now we're on to Middle Tennessee.
What are your prospects going forward? Is there like a cutoff day or a cutoff time at some point this week that said, yes, we can play?
Well, we test on Wednesdays in the league. We have a certain, it's got to be, your test has to be done so many hours before we play. And so Wednesdays when you test, now a lot of times you don't get your results back until Friday. So, and that's basically what happened to us last week. When you figure out, okay, you've got a knee injury, you've got concussion, you got all this, we're good to go. And then, last minute you get these test results back. So things can change very quickly. So that's kind of what we've been dealing with. But again, when we said, the old movement hashtag we want to play, we're committed to that and just take things as they come, control the things we control, and hopefully have enough guys ready to go that we can play each and every week for the rest of the season.
What do you see from Middle Tennessee?
Well, I think they've improved for sure. I think when you look at they've been in some shootouts in their own league, and I think after our game, that was game 1. I think you'll see a different type of team here, I guess, 8 or 9 weeks later. I know they'll be very, very motivated, with the way things went that day. So I think for us, they give you a lot of looks on defense, so we're going to have to be prepared for that. And then offensively, Tony Franken does an outstanding job, so I'm sure he'll have some wrinkles as well. So I think for us, it's just, play good, solid football and try to execute whatever we're doing in all three phases at a high level and hopefully have another opportunity to win.
One more quick question. Have you ever been involved with playing a team twice in the same season?
Yeah, in high school, you do it kind of, quite often actually, just because you play a team in a regular season and playoffs, but never in college. So it is a little different, but at the end of the day, it was so long ago. I think for us, it's just, you obviously have one game you can kind of learn from, but they there's some personnel changes they've made and different things they've done. So it'll be interesting, but it'll be something that gives us another chance to play a game. So we're excited about that.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
Okay, thanks.
All right, and we are now joined with Shawn Elliott, the head coach of Georgia State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, would you mind starting us off with the opening statement today?
Sure. Good afternoon. Our Georgia State football program is coming off a really, really tough loss to a good Appalachian State Mountaineer team up there in Boone, North Carolina on Saturday. It's a hard-fought game. We really played extremely well defensively, left some opportunities out there when we got in the red zone offensively, but really stood toe-to-toe with, I think, one of the better teams in our league, and really proud of the effort of our players. They really had a strong commitment to go up there and get a win, and it's a tough place to play. I should know. I played up there several times, but I was really proud of the effort. And, we've got to get over it. We really won that ball game, and it didn't go our way, and now we're moving on to South Alabama. I think we've got a great plan in place to go down there and attack them and play well again defensively for us. I think they've got a good program. I think they've improved a lot. I really do. So I look forward to a great contest and another great opportunity to go play this great game, something that we don't take for granted.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Brady Weiler with ThursdayNight.com. Please go ahead, Brady.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
So South Alabama is a different offense, what they're looking to do versus what App State's was looking to do. But what can you take from the success on the defensive side into this game, even if it's just momentum from a good game on Saturday?
Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is we really played well defensively because we were in the right spots and we played with great intensity and great effort. I don't think I've seen in my time here at Georgia State seen a defense that was so committed to doing the things that they did on Saturday. It was a whole nother level and a whole nother look in those guys' eyes to stalemate what I think one of the most powerful rushing teams in the country, to go stand toe-to-toe with them, to pretty much limit them from what they wanted to do. I didn't think they had any answer for us defensively, to tell you the truth, and that's not being cocky or arrogant or anything like that. We just played really well, and it was a great mindset. It was a great plan by our defensive staff, and I think it's going to carry over. We had a great meeting this morning and talked about the positive things that we brought out of that game, especially from a defensive standpoint. So I see it just as a building block, and it's going to carry over to this weekend for South Alabama.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Brady. Our next questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. What
Good
was
morning.
you talked about your defense. Was there anything that you can put your finger on that was different after your guys had given up a lot of points the last few weeks, but obviously, played their best game of the year on that side of the football?
Yeah, I don't think there was any question they played the best game of the year. They really did. We stayed on our feet for the most part from the defensive line standpoint. The mid-zone or the outside zone that Appalachian State loves to run so well, typically they get a lot of cuts on the backside that kind of split your defense. And, we did some different things up front to limit our guys, to keeping them on their feet and not getting the backside cut, and just their overall pursuit. Their reaction time off the snap count of Appalachian State and getting in the right gaps. It was just a great effort by them, and it was nothing special. It was just a good game plan, but more effort than anything else, and that's why I'm so proud of our players.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. And that concludes this week's teleconference. We'd like to thank everyone for joining us. A copy of this will be posted on the Sunbelt Conference website later today. Thank you again. We hope everybody has a great week.